Hello everyone and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. Now let me tell you what's in store for today. First of all, we have Ian with us today and he's all by himself because Helena's not here today.
I know.
Are you missing her, Ian?
I'm missing her already.
Oh. Well, at least you'll be able to get a word in edgeways now.
Absolutely.
But we do miss Helena. She's got a bit of a toothache today, hasn't she?
We do miss Helena. We do miss Helena.
Shall we tell the others what's on for the rest of the show? Okay, now, in any successful career, you may experience some really extreme highs and lows, and sometimes it can even seem impossible to carry on with the work at hand. We'll be speaking with Ian Hodgkinson about the ups and downs he's faced in his career with tragic losses, but also about his success. And what's the worst excuse you've ever given, Ian? Put you on the spot. All right, don't worry.
It wasn't me, Chrissy.
Okay, so we've asked members of the public actually the lamest excuses they've ever given, so we'll be watching that later on. And we'll also be getting some priceless tips from super successful CEO James Michael Lafferty on the top 5 qualities you need to succeed. And we also have later on singer Ruchelle Scott for an interview and performance. And we also have Jane Wrafter, of course, your favourite, Ian.
Absolutely.
On how to do a proper squat and lunge.
I've got to
Something
learn
you've
this
always
today.
wanted to know, right?
I always need to know how to do a squat and a lunge.
And of course, we're going to be answering a question from you. But before we start the show, I'd just like to give a special shout out to Ryan Boyle, who's made it to the regional final for Open Mic UK. Now, do you remember him, Ian? He was on last week.
Yep,
and he's raising money for pancreatic cancer research. So he's doing really, really well. So I just want to say congratulations. And we're rooting for you, my darling. So all the best for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's hear the rest of the news.
Okay,
that was the highlight news, by the way.
Well, Prince Andrew is back in the news, actually, because he's just done a major TV interview for NBC in America, which has annoyed, obviously, all the British press, saying that he's still very, very firm friends with Sarah Ferguson.
Yeah, I was watching something about him today.
And I think that, you know, the reality is that I know that they've been very special friends all their lives, really, you know, and it's been a very sad thing. You know, a lot of the pressure that Sarah had really didn't come from Andrew. Unfortunately, the media and other influences.
Yeah, okay. Which we won't talk about on this show today because we don't want to get into trouble.
Absolutely.
Or have any accidents.
Absolutely, on the way home. Two guards and then come down. But and I think she had a very raw deal, Sarah. You know, she really did, and they've always been in love. They've always been in love.
Did they live together? I thought I was watching because I didn't realise that. I had no idea they're still living together.
They still live together. I mean, he goes over. He's obviously, you know, besotted with his 2 daughters. He's very protective towards them. You know, they're flying the Atlantic all the time to actually make sure. She does her shows in America as well, and she's highly popular in America. She really is. I mean, It's
funny that, isn't it? How people really make it in one country and then they're just slaughtered in another. Really,
I think Americans embrace the royal family much more sometimes, unfortunately, than we do. You know, and I think we saw something like that when they saw what had happened to her. And when her book came out a few years ago, and they actually gave her story about the pressures that you know, she was put under and how the marriage actually broke up. It's a terrible sort of thing to actually recognise, you know, and a very similar thing happened to Diana, you know, at the same time. So, and I'm well aware of, you know, the pressures because, you know, part of the time, the horse whisperers were coming to me as well, you know, sort of talking about...
It's got all the inside stuff, Ian. Ian here.
So I have to put my glasses on.
Oh, yeah, it's true. They're very posh. I do like them. I love the look.
Thank you very much.
You had your trendy look last week with your jeans and everything, and now you've got your posh look.
I've got back to my posh look tonight, yeah. So there's another very, very interesting story this week, and it just shows you the power of YouTube nowadays as well. There's a DJ in Scotland called Calvin Harris, and Calvin Harris just a few years ago started remixing music in the bedroom of his home and started putting it onto YouTube. Now he's making £1 million a week, £52 million a year on his music on YouTube.
Wow, gosh. That's unbelievable.
And he's, you know, it is so popular now. He's actually bought this huge home in America as well, you know, with it. And it just sort of shows you the power of these things now, that, you know, how much not only sort of the Sky channels are creating a lot of power ratio now, but even sort of things like YouTube and live channels are sort of doing the same.
The good thing about YouTube, obviously, is anyone can go on there and do anything really.
Absolutely,
you can be super successful online.
Absolutely right, you know, and so it's sort of something that's very, very interesting. And the next thing, of course, Victoria Beckham. At the moment, she will shortly be getting the cold shoulder. Well, in actual fact, it's the ice bath. The
ice bucket challenge.
This ice bucket challenge at the moment. Her son did it. Brooklyn did it a few weeks ago, and so has David as well. And so they've now challenged Victoria, she of the Ice Queen froze look, to actually participate in this as well. You know, it'll be the first time I think I've ever seen an expression on her face in about 25 years since I've known her. Because it's strange enough, I was watching one today. Tonight I'm having a meal in Soho, and there's this terrible scream outside, you know, and everyone rushes to the restaurant window, and someone had been doing this sort of ice challenge for charity.
Someone threatened me today, actually, that they were going to nominate me. She goes, I'm thinking of nominating everyone from the Chrissy B Show, and I said, don't you dare.
Well,
Did you do it, Ian?
I was just, I'll do it if you do it.
On the show.
We can do it on the show. So it may be the very last show we ever appear in, you know, with the lights and everything. I think it might be better to record it outside, but I'll do it if you do it.
We'll see. All right, we'll see.
Yeah,
all right. Okay, moving swiftly on.
Is that a fact?
Moving swiftly on. What's the next news item?
Moving swiftly on. Yeah, see, Cliff Richards, obviously at the moment is in all sorts of news situations because of you know, allegations, alleged things that have been sort of happening. But in reality, it's actually worked in a strange way well for him as well, because all his fans now have started by his 1992 hit, "I Still Believe in You." Right. And this record now is going into the charts because of this, you know, that this is the statement they're making.
Because I haven't heard from him for a while, have we?
They haven't, and I mean, he, well, you know, obviously we can't prejudice any cases and we can't talk about the cases himself, but I've met Cliff Richard a number of times, you know, and I've been in his sort of circle as well, and for me, I find it very hard to you know, see any sort of real sense in this, but you know, obviously everything has to go through the sort of the justice system at the same time. But you know, all I ever found him was very courteous, very professional, very polite, very nice person, you know, to be around. Mariah Carey.
Let's see what happens.
Yes, let's see what happens. Mariah Carey and her husband Nick Cannon are allegedly heading for the divorce courts.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
I know.
What do you mean, celebrities, singers, stars getting divorced? It's
like this revolving door, isn't it? At the moment, you know. You know,
it's just a case of who's next, isn't it? Really, in the celeb world.
Do you know? I think Justin Bieber has come up again. I think he's got a season ticket to the courts at the moment. I've never seen a young man have so much problems in his life.
I thought he said he was turning a page.
That's what I thought as well. But apparently last year he's being sued by a photographer called Aja Oxman, who allegedly was sort of held down and put into a headlock by one of Bieber's bodyguards. When Bieber was in Hawaii taking a dive off a cliff, you know, into the sort of the hot, steamy world of you know, of the waterways of Hawaii, and apparently Bieber didn't like this, and now Bieber's being sued yet again. Not the bodyguard. Well, and the bodyguard as well, you know, the two of them. But he's being sued mainly because he's actually, you know, was the main person to actually sort of tell the bodyguard, allegedly. I did say the word allegedly, folks.
He's been so careful, bless him today. Well done, Ian.
But yeah, this has happened. So I think after a while, you know, even the judges must be starting to get fed up with him now.
Aren't they? Yeah.
You know, because the first couple of times, you know, it was probably a bit of an amusement, but now, he just seems to be continuously doing sort of things. And
that's what happens when fame gets to your head, isn't it? No.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
You've managed to keep grounded.
I've managed to keep grounded.
Good,
I try to keep grounded and whatever
I'm fans at your door.
Whatever I'm doing, absolutely right. So
we've run out of time.
Oh, I'm just going to do my favourite piece of the night. Okay.
You've got 5 seconds.
5 seconds. Okay, I'll read it straight off there. It's Sarah Jessica Parker, she of the Chrissy B Show fan club. She reckons she's produced the perfect hamburger, and it's from a recipe from the New York Times. And so she actually describes in detail what's the perfect hamburger.
Oh, okay. So you've got to tell us about that next time then, because I'm very interested in that.
Absolutely. And I thought we'd compare shoes as well.
Right. Thank you so much, Ian.
No problem.
And we'll see you again next time. Hopefully we've had enough. Although you've done a fabulous job all on your own.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, so do stay tuned, because in the next part, we'll have our fitness tip from Jane on how to squat and lunge properly. And I'll also be joined by Ian Hodgkinson, speaking about his businesses, projects, and about how he faced tragic loss and moments of sheer fear along his journey.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. Now, to introduce my first guest, let's take a look at this video.
Hey, and I'm Ian Hodgkinson, and I'm project managing this awesome project. It's something that we've got to carry out in 2 days. What on earth are we going to do?
This facility will open the door for that, literally open the door to give kids a great chance for learning, developing and moving forward and making something of their lives. But these 4 guys have been exceptional. Thank you so much. It is a dream come true. It's a miracle. Well done, brilliant. And do you know what? It doesn't end today. Today's where it begins.
So now I'd like to introduce Ian Hodgkinson. Hello, Ian.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
So we saw you in action there.
Yes.
But can you tell the viewers what you do?
I'm actually a builder and a property developer these days.
Okay. And the name of your business?
It's Hodgkinson Builders.
Hodgkinson Builders. So he's got his very own business. Now, he's very, very successful, but you do have a very deep story, because you've been through hell, haven't you, really? And you managed to come out on top somehow.
Yeah. Well, it's all about resilience, isn't it? And the last few years have been very, very difficult. Very difficult. Almost to the point where we're on our knees, and we've had some really, really deep and sad times. But it's just about resilience and keeping going. And that never giving up attitude, in any respect.
When did you actually start the business?
That's a good question. I left school when I was 16, right? So if we take it back to the beginning, I left school when I was 16, and I went to work for a local firm as a brickier, as an apprentice, and I had a couple of years there. And they wouldn't send me on my advanced craft and extra study, and so my father took me on, and he was also in the building trade. He was a plasterer, you see. So I worked for him for another couple of years, but I always felt that I didn't want a 9-to-5 job or an 8 till 4 or whatever. I wanted to do my own thing, you see. So
you always had that drive.
I always had that drive, yes, that drive, which is very important in people that want to work for themselves, which is initially how I saw it. I wanted to work for myself, and I wanted to build my own house, and I wanted to have, a business. But I stayed on at college, and I think I was there till about 25, learning and whatever. And But at the age of 21, when I was halfway through that education at the local college, I was offered a job lecturing there. So that gave me a really good grounding. I also had I took part-time work as well. I was working at local pubs, and some of those people I engaged with at that point, I'm still in contact with today, and I've done work for them. So it's a case of, you know, I understood from an early age it's getting engaged with people and working hard and being honest. I remember working as a brickie until probably the late 80s, and that's this particular firm I was working for. They weren't taking on individuals anymore. They were going to contract out, so we were all potentially going to lose our jobs.
Oh, gosh.
But I said, I'll do that. I'll take those contracts on. So I took the lads on that were potentially going to lose their jobs. I also took some of the lads on that I'd been teaching, and also some of the lads I'd been to college with. And I set about going on these contracts.
So you seized the opportunity, in other words.
I seized the opportunity, yes, and I grasped it. I've got to say, when there's one door closes, 10 open, right? So I took those opportunities, and I did exactly what it says on the tin, and I did my best for these people, and we did them a great job. So we got another one, and then another one, and then that was able to fund some house building. So
because you do hear a lot of horror stories about builders and things, so it's really great when you find someone that you can trust.
That is true, because that's how I am. If I say I'm going to turn up at 8 o'clock, I will be there at 8, and people say, "You're here?" Well, yeah, I'm here, and they're surprised just because you're going to do exactly what you've said.
Important.
Yeah,
So important.
I don't understand that in other people where they don't turn up. I want to turn up, and I want to do the job, and I'm enthusiastic about it, and I want to give them. I want to see the faces.
Yeah.
You know, oh, crikey, he's done a good job. You know, and that's how I see it. That's how I see it. And we set about building houses, and I can remember buying one plot of land. And it's the way that you think differently as well, don't you? And I thought, I reckon I can get 2 on there. So I went back into planning, and I got 2. So basically, I got a free plot. So that we was able to capitalise on that. And I can remember the guy that I was buying the timber from, and I got to know him. He was the timber rep, and he said, I know somebody else that I sell timber to who wants bricklayers and builders. So I then started working for 2 firms, and the reputation started to grow, and we always paid well, and we got the best, or what I thought was the best guys, and we built from there.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, like things started to build up, but then you went through a few lows. Can you tell us about those as well?
Oh yeah, 2007 and 2008, we were on a crest of a wave. If we start there, and that was basically at the end of the last boom, and then things started to fall off the edge with the bank crises and then everything. So we'd got staff on, and we got it was very, very difficult times. We'd got a guy a quantity surveyor that had worked for me for 10 years. We knew he wasn't well, but you don't actually comprehend this. But he ended up committing suicide.
Gosh.
That to me was stuff that you read in the papers that you
don't expect it to happen to someone you know, do you?
No.
Yeah.
You know, he's there one day, and then the next day his wife is ringing up and saying that this had happened. I just, you know, I really, really struggled with that.
Yeah.
You see, you know, a depression or mental illness or whatever it was, I don't know a lot about it. Of course, you get a feeling that he's ill, but to me, somebody that's ill has got a cold or is, you know, they broke their arm, or you know, physically I can see that, but not that. I couldn't.
Some people hide it really well, I have to say. They do really hide it, because when I was going through depression, I hid it well.
Yeah.
Most of all my friends didn't know only the ones that I told.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is possible to hide it, and sometimes they might say, oh, maybe she's looking a bit down, but they don't ever think that someone will go to that point of actually killing themselves. But obviously that was a big low in your time, in your business. How did you guys recover from that?
Just basically going back to work, focusing on what we had in front of us, and we were in the middle of a recession, so we'd got that and this, but I still felt that we were still fortunate because we were still there. We were trying hard, and trying to remain focused to get through it. Very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. And it's time. Time is a great healer of working through it.
Now something else happened as well, didn't it?
Yeah. A couple of years after that, I lost my business partner. We'd been working together for 20 years. A great guy that I trusted immensely. To the extent that, we were really bonded together, to the extent
that family, isn't it? When you work with someone that closely, they become like a brother to you, a family member.
And he was running a very important side of the business, which allowed me to concentrate on my side of the business, and it worked very, very well. We used to work in unison, and we would often phone each other up at exactly the same time. It was weird. Yeah. I was just about to phone you, and it was incredible. And that's how closely we were together. We would actually be thinking the same processes, and it was. I was absolutely devastated. Absolutely devastated.
What happened to him?
Yeah.
What happened to him?
He died suddenly of a pulmonary embolism, I think it's called, 55 years of age.
Gosh, all right. Ian, we're going to go to a quick break, but then afterwards, obviously, you've spoken about some really tough times that you went through, but also there's more, which we're going to talk about after the break, but also how things have been going for you, because things are going really, really well at the moment, aren't they?
Yes.
So do join us after this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. I'm going to continue speaking to Ian Hodgkinson because he's been telling us about some of the lows, extreme lows that he's been through in his business. But also later on, we're going to be watching a video from James Lafferty, who's a very successful CEO, on his 5 tips to success. And I'd like to get Ian's take on that as well. But let's carry on with what you were saying, Ian, because you just before the break, you were saying how you lost your business partner who'd been working with for years, who was more like if we were saying, a family member to you.
Absolutely.
So obviously that was a huge blow to you and the company.
Yeah.
So how did you get over that? How did you carry on after that?
I know his character. He would want me to go forward, and it's just a case of remaining positive, and taking all that experience that you've had, and belief, and just get working gently through it. Day by day at times it was, not too much. Take it steady, and so you could deal with it in your own way. Just gentle steps, and time, as I say, is a great healer, and because we'll never forget these guys. And what they did for me.
They were part of the success of the growth of the business, weren't they?
Absolutely. And and the very fact that they were there in the first place, I'm going to go forward and make sure it is a success in their memory. So
do tell us about the success of the business, because it's going really well, isn't it?
Oh yes, it is. I mean. It's about a year to 18 months ago that we noticed that things were starting to pick up, and very, very carefully I put a plan in place. You've got to get your plan in place. Don't just go meandering away. I got the plan in place, and I could see that things were moving forward. I must admit, if if the recession had lasted another 6 months, I don't know where I'd have been.
Yeah.
We were almost on our knees. But I remain positive. You know, sooner or later, this...
How do you remain positive when things are looking so bleak?
Just belief.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely belief. Because I think that we were wanted out there. You know, what I could do and what we could build out there for people was
because
different.
you know you give a really good service as well.
Yeah.
You, like, people can trust you and everything,
Yeah.
which I think is such a lovely quality to have. Really.
And it's part of my life anyway.
Yeah.
You know, what else would I do? I wanted to do this.
Never give up.
No, never give up. So my thoughts were, we need to be last man standing. Last man standing. And because where we came from, the landscape of the industry in 2007, 2008, before the crisis, half the people had gone, half the firms had gone, you know, people had moved on. And so it got to a point where we were the last man standing. And so when those phone calls came through for builders and bricklayers, we were picking them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it went from there. And it's from where we were 18 months ago, all our troubles are behind us. Absolutely. And I'm loving every minute of it. You know, it's great. It's great. It is.
Brilliant. Okay, now let's watch this video as well, because I'd like to get your take on it. 5 tips to success. This is according to Jim Lafferty, and obviously you're probably going to have your own as well, because you've mentioned a couple already. So let's take a look at this first.
5 qualities you need to succeed. Talking today to James Michael Lafferty.
What would you say to somebody like a young person or anybody maybe who's having to change a career and they really wanted to have a successful career and climb the ladder? What would you say to them that maybe the 5 most qualities that they really need to have if they were serious about becoming very successful in what they wanted to do?
The first one would be courage. They need to take risks in their career, especially young people. They need to gamble a bit, and they need to go for it. When you have children and you have a spouse and you have house payments, you know, you lose your ability to be flexible. When you're young like Morgan and you just have a house, you're just renting an apartment, and you don't have a car, you don't have a husband, you have kids, you're flexible. Take the risks and swing for things. The second thing that you need is coachability. You have to be willing to absorb information and get better. Now, it's funny, the SEALs call this the warrior mindset, which is, are you prepared to get better, or do you think you're already good enough? And it's amazing the number of people who say, look, I'm good enough. I'm not open to any more changes or input in my life. That's a dangerous place to be. You need to be coachable. The third is EQ, or social intelligence. Can you work with other people? Everything's about teamwork. And you know, the selfish people, the people who only think about themselves, who step on other people, who don't basically have an understanding of how humans think and what motivates people, are always going to struggle. In any company I've been in, the people that struggled to get along with others never were successful, no matter how big that brain was, no matter how many hours they worked, they weren't gonna make it. The fourth would be leadership. You won't find a company in the world today that has enough leaders. There's a dearth of leadership in every corporation in the world today. Now, everyone says they're a leader, but I'm talking real leadership. You know, doing the right thing, winning over trust. I mean, you know, General Eisenhower said, the essence of leadership is integrity. And, you know, people that are political, that are manipulative, that think they're leaders, they're not. And all of their people know it. This is about people that really take a stand for something. Why does everyone follow Nelson Mandela? Because he did the right thing, even though it was very difficult. That's the essence, you know, that's the essence of leadership. And the final thing would be perseverance, which you're gonna have ups and downs. I've had great times in my career, I've had bad times. I've had successful launches and I've had failures. You gotta stick with it. The difference between success and failure is nuances. So it's a very fine line. So, it's a one or two things sometimes that makes the difference between it. So, and you know, success all the time is a horrible teacher. You need to fail sometimes. I mean, I always go back and tell people, the best system to learn skiing is from the French. And the French will tell you, if you didn't fall down today, you didn't do it right. You should fall. Because falling means you tried new maneuvers and new degrees of slope and new hills that have made you a better skier. Not, I'm always going to do the easy runs where I don't fall down and I'm comfortable. You make progress when you're uncomfortable. Comfort is an enemy to anybody because comfort makes us complacent. Comfort makes us just sitting, this is so nice. You got to push yourself. And so that's what's important, is that continual learning and continual improvement and being pushed to do things that you haven't done before.
So you've been having quite a lot of changes in your career, as you're saying, grabbing opportunities and things have gone in different directions. Would you say that that's still happening now in your career?
Absolutely. I've worked for now different companies in different countries. I just came from living in Nigeria. Why? Because it's the most dynamic African country, and I wanted to go there, even though it for many people is a difficult place. I wanted to try it. I wanted to live there. I met wonderful people. I met a wonderful culture, and I'm glad I did that. Yeah, I mean, the day you stop taking risks is the day you might as well just say, I'm gonna sit back and wait to die, and I'm not doing that. So, every time I've ever interviewed 80-year-old people, they say the same thing. I only regret the risks I didn't take. They will always tell you that, and so I've always listened to that. I've taken every job that I've been asked to take, and I've gone to all the geographies that they asked me to move to, and I looked at everything positively, like this is an opportunity to learn.
James's 5 qualities you need to succeed. First, courage. Second, coachability. Third, social intelligence. Fourth, leadership. And fifth, perseverance.
Powerful stuff there, Ian, right?
Absolutely.
What did you think? I saw you nodding away during the interview.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with all of those, particularly the last one, perseverance, right? Because for me, that is the most important one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in all successful people, you have your ups and you have your downs, and it's learning from the ups and the downs, and it's taking that knowledge forward and those experiences forward. And I've got to say, if you talk to any of my friends around Derby, they'll know my saying, and it's not, and it's to do with a boxer, and I think Rocky Balboa said it, to be fair, and it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you get hit. Keep taking those punches, you get knocked down, and then getting back up. Getting back off that canvas and moving forward. That's what it's all about. And the only time that you actually fail is when you give up.
But we don't give up on this programme.
No, we don't.
And we don't know.
No,
that's what this programme's all about, is perseverance and, striving to be happy with whatever you're doing.
Oh, absolutely.
And just before you go, you have been nominated for something, haven't you?
Yes.
Do tell us about that just before we go.
I've been nominated for Derbyshire Entrepreneur of the Year.
That's wonderful. And your son as well, hasn't he? Been nominated?
Yes. My son Robert, who works for me as a quantity surveyor, has been nominated for Junior Entrepreneur of the Year.
Great, that's wonderful stuff.
We're all thrilled to bits.
Brilliant.
It's just
you
great
deserve it, because you've been through a lot and you've come out on top.
Thank you.
Real inspiration to other people. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you so much for speaking to me. I did tell Ian we have to get him back on, because there's so much more he wanted to talk about, and I wanted to hear from him as well. So we didn't get time. We ran out of time. So we'll have to do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Do stay tuned, because after the break we'll be talking to singer Ruchelle Scott, and she'll be performing for us too. So don't go away.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back. We're going to meet the lovely singer Ruchelle Scott in just a moment. But what's the worst excuse you've ever made? We asked this question to people on the streets of London, and here's what they told us.
So, what excuse have you heard or given that you think is probably a little bit lame?
Definitely that I'm washing my hair, because everybody washes their hair in the morning, but you just pretend you wash it in the evening. That's a good excuse, because people think it takes hours, but really it's a 5-minute process.
Someone at my work gave a really lame excuse for being late. He made out that someone was going through his bins and trying to steal his shoes.
Now, I normally say my roof's leaking. This is not good.
If I need to diet
before a fight, I always tell myself tomorrow I'll start it.
Just stupid ones like, oh, I can't do this because I'm tired, or I can't do this because, it's just bailing on friends, I think, is a bad excuse. If you know something's been planned, go ahead and do it. Going shopping, that you really deserved it, even though you know you're in your overdraft, be like, this will make my life so much better. You deserve this.
If I cannot be bothered to go to the gym, I would say, I'll go tomorrow because it's just so hot today. I make any excuse not to go to the gym.
If you're a big girl and you need to get out of it, send a text message on the sly, like call me, answer the phone like, oh, yeah, really? All right, I'll come in now. You act like they're in trouble, you have to go out and help your friend.
Do you think a lot of guys do that then?
Oh yeah, it's a classic.
Okay, there's a few excuses there, and I'd like to now introduce Ruchelle to everyone. Hello, Ruchelle.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm not going to ask you the worst excuses you've made because that's putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
I won't ask you. But let's get straight into your singing. So when did you realise you wanted to sing?
I've always loved singing, but it was probably when I was in a gospel choir in year 7, so I was about 11 or 12. That was a really cool experience because we got to perform at the Royal Albert Hall.
Oh, lovely.
And the adrenaline rush, it was just crazy. So yeah, since then.
Yeah, okay. And then how did you actually get into it and start doing your own stuff?
Well, I used to be in a girl group when I was at school because I was too shy to sing alone. And then we did a few like competitions. We did like Broken Silence, and then we met a producer. That was our first time ever in a studio working with a producer. And then since then it kind of progressed. I went to music college, and yeah.
But now you're going it alone. How does that feel though compared? Because obviously, how did you get over that shyness?
Well, I just threw myself in the deep end, to be honest. When I was 16, I would go to open mic nights and I'd be completely nervous. My mum would drive me and I'd make her sit outside. She wouldn't even come inside of the building. So
You didn't want her there because you were nervous? Or
because I'd never sung in front of her at that point. So I was like, promise that you're not going to come inside. And I just threw myself in. I was like, I have to get over it.
Yeah. And how's it been going since you've really
it's fine. The more I do it, I'm totally fine performing now. So I love it.
Okay. What's the next step for you, would you say?
Well, at the moment I'm doing an EP, so I'm just looking to put more projects out there because this is the first official project that I've actually done.
Yeah.
Just the more projects, the more people know me, and just to try and get my name out there.
Is it hard? Is it hard to do what you do?
It is. Meeting people isn't too difficult once you do shows and you kind of get chatting to everyone. That's kind of how it happens. It's like a chain reaction. You meet this person, they introduce you to that person. Right. But it's just persistence, like what we heard earlier.
It's just that's powerful stuff, wasn't
pushing on,
Never give up.
Never give up.
Never. Okay. Now tell us what you'll be singing for us later.
It's my debut from my upcoming EP. It's called Ain't Got the Time.
Okay. Is it based on personal experience or?
It's not. I mean, I have like a wild imagination, so I'm good at like creating scenarios and stories in my head.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily linked to my own life or friends maybe going through stuff. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for talking to me, Ruchelle. We're going to be back in just a minute. You're going to go off and get ready, and then we'll be hearing your lovely voice.
Okay.
Okay. All right then. So just before we go back to Ruchelle with her song, I'd like to answer this question from a viewer. Now this one's from Natalie, and she says, I'm so lonely, I feel like giving up. My marriage broke down in 2008, and since then, life has been really hard. I don't see my friends anymore, as most of them are married, and those that are not seem to have men falling at their feet, which makes me feel like a spare part. I'm sure it's not like that, Natalie, because sometimes things seem worse than what they are. So Natalie's asking, what would I do in her situation? Now, Natalie, from the little that you've actually written, it really seems like your self-esteem has taken a knock when your marriage broke down, and because you said that since then life's been really bad. But this all happened 6 years ago, so I really think it's time that you start moving on. Now, breakups are really hard, but they don't need to be the end of the world for anyone. Just take some lessons from what you went through. People sometimes look at the past and they beat themselves up about what happened and they regret everything that happened, but you have to learn from those mistakes. Don't see it as something that's, it's going to end your life. Just learn from what's happened. Don't make the same mistakes on your part. Obviously, you can't do anything about the mistakes of your partner. Now, another thing that I've noticed, like you've shut yourself away from everyone, and that's a big mistake. You need to even though you don't feel at the moment to be going out there and meeting people and stuff like that, but at least try and join some kind of group. Start a hobby where you're mixing with other people. Just take it step by step so that you're not all on your own, because when someone isolates themselves, they do feel much, much worse. You really need to sort of get out there, talking to people, liaising with people. You can try that in your workplace as well. Chat more to people. Don't isolate yourself away, because there's plenty of people that have been through similar things to you, and they've overcome it. They've gone on and met someone else. They're happy with their lives. They get into their career. So don't think it's the end of the world because you've had this breakup. Lots of people have been through it and they've come out on the other side, so you can as well. What I would advise you, because you do mention that you feel like giving up, I really would advise you to get some kind of counselling, because this is something serious that you're feeling, and obviously you don't want it to get worse because you could fall into depression. So make sure you do speak to your GP, get some counselling if you need to, and I'm sure things will turn out well for you. Just don't give up, as you've heard on this show today. And actually that goes for everyone that's watching. Sometimes things happen that can really, really knock the wind out of us, but you're much stronger than what you think you are, and you can recover with the right help and guidance. Just don't give up. Things might seem really bad right now, but there's always hope of a brighter future. So now we're going to go over to Ruchelle with Ain't Got the Time.